when two men mocked a quiet stranger and his loyal German shepherd on a crowded city bus. Everyone thought he was just another passenger trying to mind his own business. But within minutes, they would discover the truth, and nothing on that bus would ever be the same again. Evening rain streaked the bus windows as the city crawled past in flashes of neon and shadow. The crowded aisle hummed with tired breaths and quiet conversations, yet one passenger seemed separate from the noise. A calm, broad-shouldered man sat near the middle row, hands resting gently on the leash of his German shepherd. The dog lay at his feet, ears lifted, eyes steady, every movement measured, as if it understood responsibility. The man said nothing, but his stillness felt deliberate, like someone who had learned patience in harder places. Around him, commuters sensed the tension of the day fading into unease. The fluorescent lights flickered, the bus rattled, and glances gathered on the silent pair without a word being spoken. No one knew his name, or why he watched every corner of the bus with quiet awareness, but something about him suggested readiness, discipline, and restraint. And on that restless ride, that silence would soon matter more than anyone expected. Outside, the storm thickened, and fate moved closer with every mile the bus carried its unsuspecting passengers forward tonight. At the next stop, the doors hissed open and two men stepped aboard, laughter sharp and careless, boots dragging across the floor. They spoke loudly, hunting for attention, leaning over seats, bumping shoulders as if the entire bus existed for their amusement. One noticed the German shepherd and smirked, nudging his friend before tossing a mocking comment toward the silent man. Passengers lowered their eyes, pretending to ignore the behavior, but uneasiness crept through the aisle like a slow vibration. The taller man blocked the path of a young commuter, demanding space that was already his. The other slapped a hand against a pole, laughing when an elderly rider flinched. The tension grew heavier with every careless shove, yet the quiet man remained still, his gaze steady, his dog alert but unmoving, muscles coiled beneath calm fur. No threats, no reaction, only discipline. And the louder the taunts became, the more the bullies mistook silence for weakness, unaware that the moment was tightening around them like a fuse waiting to burn. Outside, the buildings blurred past the windows, and dread settled over the passengers, a quiet plea rising that someone would finally make the cruelty stop before harm arrived inside. The fuse burned when one of the men lifted his boot and kicked the dog as if it were an obstacle in his way. A gasp rolled through the bus, and the shepherd rose in a single controlled motion, eyes locked on its handler, waiting for direction. The bully laughed and flashed a knife, the metal glinting beneath the cold lights. Fear tightened every seat, and passengers shrank back, praying the moment would pass. Instead, the quiet man finally stood. He moved slowly, deliberately, stepping between the attackers and the frightened riders. His posture shifted, shoulders squared, breathing calm, revealing a discipline earned through years of training. The dog lowered its stance beside him, steady and focused, every muscle listening for command. The taunts faded to silence, and for the first time the men hesitated, confused by the stillness in front of them, unaware that the line they crossed could never be uncrossed. The bus shook along the tracks, and the passengers felt the weight of decision forming in the narrow aisle, as if the world itself paused, holding its breath, waiting to see whether courage or cruelty would claim the next heartbeat inside that fragile moving room tonight forever. The motion was efficient, controlled, a lesson written into muscle and memory. The bully staggered, shocked by the calmness of the response, and before he could recover, the man redirected him into the seat, pinning the weapon harmlessly to the floor. The second attacker rushed in anger, but the German shepherd shifted like a shadow, blocking his advance with disciplined authority, teeth bared yet restrained, waiting for a single word. None came. Instead, the man turned, seized the second wrist, and brought him down with the same measured force. No rage, no boasting, only responsibility. Gasps rippled through the bus as fear gave way to disbelief. The danger was ending as quickly as it had begun, undone not by violence, but by skill, patience, and unspoken loyalty between a handler and a steadfast dog. The attackers lay stunned, breathing hard, wrists trembling against the floor, while the passengers slowly realized they were safe again. In that suspended moment, courage felt quiet, almost invisible, yet stronger than every threat that had tried to rule the night inside the rattling bus that carried their relief forward together, as gratitude warmed the air and silence settled over every shaken soul there. When the bus finally stopped, flashing lights painted the windows in red and blue. Officers hurried aboard and found the two men restrained, the knife gliding harmlessly across the floor. Passengers began to breathe again, voices shaking with relief and gratitude. One officer studied the calm stance of the silent man and the disciplined poise of the German shepherd at his side. His question was quiet, almost respectful, and the answer revealed a truth no one had expected. The stranger was a U.S. Army officer and trained K-9 handler, home on leave. The attackers were escorted away, still stunned, while the passengers watched with awe, realizing how close danger had come and how quickly it had been stopped by courage that never asked for recognition. Outside, snow drifted across the street, and the city moved on unaware of the small miracle that had unfolded inside the bus. The officer gave a single nod to the grateful riders, then knelt to brush his partner's fur, checking him with tenderness few people would ever see, as the night whispered that true strength often walks quietly among ordinary lives, leaving gratitude where fear once lingered in trembling hearts below on that ride. The crowd drifted off the bus one by one, still replaying what they had witnessed. The officer refused applause, stepping into the cold evening with his loyal partner padding softly beside him. He did not seek thanks or headlines. He simply carried the quiet weight of responsibility forward. The passengers remained behind, humbled by what they had learned, that real courage rarely shouts, and true heroes often look like ordinary people traveling home after a long day. The German shepherd glanced up at his handler, and together they disappeared into the city streets, two figures bound by trust and purpose. The story did not end with cheers, but with reflection, a reminder that discipline, loyalty, and compassion can protect strangers in their most fragile moments, and that sometimes the strongest people are the ones we notice the least. As the night deepened, the echoes of the encounter lingered in every heart that had shared the ride, inspiring silent gratitude and a newfound respect for the unseen guardians who walk among us each day, ready to stand when the world needs courage most, reminding everyone that humanity endures wherever empathy, discipline, and quiet bravery choose to rise inside ordinary lives.